Okay.
1, 2, 3. Want to welcome everybody to Mom and Dad Talks, where our favorite two people are Mom and Dad. And hello, Mom and Dad.
Well, hello, Sonny boy.
Yeah, it's good to see you all here. We have a real interesting subject today. I've never gone. For my formative years to high school, I never attended a public school. The first time I attended was in college, when I did attend one. So I was raised in Christian education. Um, I see nothing wrong with the Ten Commandments personally. I know you guys separate church and state, and I understand that. Probably get a lot of calls on that. But we do need to have value systems, whatever that is. We don't have any value systems. Our value systems are a little whack. But Mom and Dad, what do you think about this Ten Commandment being brought back to Louisiana legislation?
Well, I have never been in a private school. I've always attended public school,
Mm-hmm.
and I can really see the value of bringing Christianity back in the school systems, the public
Mm-hmm.
systems,
Mm-hmm.
because I think we've kind of lost our values.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's see, strange that there's a political party that people that are supposedly religious back. And I think it's about time that we bring Christianity not only back into the public school system, but back into politics.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a reason why there's a separation of church and state, but we'll talk about that later. And I get where you're coming from, but and it's a great point, Dad, because we don't have a value system anymore. When this country was started, everyone had a base value of the Bible.
That's correct.
So there was a level set that you could go on, and since they taken it out, we've had a more of a secular mindset here. And you know you got some weird stuff happening right now. Even the fact that you know what, you want to respect everybody's values, but we have a valueless person that has no values or respect for other people. Now you got a problem. Mom, what are your thoughts?
The thought that I have is that when you took prayer out of the schools and wanted to smash or do away with not posting the Ten Commandments, it was replaced by something terrible. And you know what that was? A
Yeah.
gun. Because there were school shootings after that. When
Mhm.
they did away with anything that had to do with putting God into the mix, it just seems like the school shootings and shooting everybody, anybody you want to shoot. One of the commandments is thou shalt not kill. Okay?
Mhm.
So when that is removed from anybody's thought, then they're going to say, oh, well, then I guess I'm free to do whatever I want to do. And that's the reason why I see that there's been so much
Mhm.
shootings in the last 20, 30 years, because they
You can't argue against that. I mean, people have there's a lot of atheism has risen. More people don't go to church, so your value system of what is right gets a little skewed. And this is a Christian um based program here. And I'm not trying to be offensive to anybody out there. However, we love people. We're not trying to force people to serve God per se. However, there is a value system that you need to have that all of us can get along with, is not killing people, not trying to steal. And those are also in the Ten Commandments,
right,
right? So,
right. If they're not posted in it, nobody will ever know that they exist
well,
either.
and it's a reason for people to talk about it. My thought is you got people taking out Black history, and it's nice that the Ten Commandments are being brought back to reinstitute some of a value system, but then you're still having evolution being taught.
Mm.
And evolution, and see, this is the part that gets me in crux with the Republican Party a lot of times, is you want to do all this other stuff, but you don't want to get rid of evolution because you believe in it. And unfortunately, that's how the Nazis came to power. If you study history, the Nazis believed in that, and they also so-called serve God because they were majority Catholic or whatever the case may be. If you study history on it, that's why Hitler, very strange. He was trying to say, hey, he was trying to show Christian values, even though he didn't believe in Christianity like that.
Mhm.
And so, how could a Christian believe in evolution? You can't. You're not that really says you're not a Christian. You're just going along with something because it's convenient to state your stance on stuff that will eventually go wrong for whatever your thing you're trying to do. But
Right.
sorry for, dragging everything out like that. But like I said, and personally speaking, they're trying to bring guns in. So you have accidental killings. I just say, bring back the belt. Dad, you were there when they had the belt.
Yes.
I'm a fan of the belt. You know what I'm saying? Bring back the belt. If instead of guns, bring back the belt. Whoop these kids are out of line and stuff like that. I'm sorry, folks. I mean, don't beat the kids, but they need to be spanked.
How do you say it? When they did have corporal punishment in schools, there were teachers that did abuse it.
Mhm.
And how do you say it?
You say what?
Something can be very abusive.
Yeah.
Even though it's for the good.
Mhm.
But I feel that if a teacher treats each child, regardless of color or race or ethnic background or whatever, as a human being, those kids will relate to that.
And once
But if you come to class as a teacher and you're angry
Mhm.
and you take your frustrations out on your students,
Mhm.
those kids will react to that also.
You brought two value systems up. Number one, treat all kids like they're human beings. So, number one, if you have those evolutionary thoughts, you shouldn't be teaching. That's really what we're saying here. Second thing is that you shouldn't be an angry person teaching kids.
Right, right.
If you're angry teaching them, it's going to go out into the teaching and stuff. So, like I said, I mean, my personal opinion is when they had the belt out, you didn't have school shootings. When they took the belt out, guess what? It became prevalent because there's no limits because it's become a selfish thing now, and the child has no reasoning skills. They have no boundaries. You got kids, when I was coming up, there was a bedtime. Now you got kids coming up, there's no bedtime. They go to bed whenever they fall asleep. I mean, what kind of parenting skill is that? And you have a lot of bad parenting skills. So you have a valueless system, bad parenting skills. No wonder our school systems are in the shape they're in because the schools have what are you going to do? What can you do? There's nothing you can do. And you just were hoping that they fall in line. And that's not a good strategy, in my opinion.
No, it is not. So,
and you have to realize education really begins in the home.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't begin in that classroom.
Send your kids to
you send the kids to school to be a babysitter.
Yeah.
But if you educate your kids at home, if you sit down with them, go over with them the homework assignment, and then they will respond to that. But if the parent doesn't have any appreciation for a good education, how do you expect the children to have?
And that's the whole point, right? I mean, I remember when I helped schools out, you can't tell a parent that is learning how to be a parent and say that you're being a bad parent. That's a fight, and they will beat you up.
Mm-hmm.
However, I can show you good techniques that will guarantee to make your kid be better. And you take a hold of those principles and those things. And I tell you this, you have a better outcome than what you're seeing around you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that I think that's lacking is, when you look at television, when you look at, online, when you look at video, I mean, these kids, their attention spans are really, really short. It was bad in my time because you had the television, but now it's like 2 minutes and you lost them. So, the phone, there's a lot more stuff in there. The school system needs to get up to date. And like I said, the very first thing, you need, the military does. The very first thing the military does, they discipline you. You fall out of line, they handle it, right? Well, the schools need to have a disciplined program of just the decorum. Kids don't know how to raise their hands anymore. Kids don't know how to respect adults anymore. Mr. Such and such, Mrs. Such and such. I mean, calling an adult by his first name or her name, I wasn't allowed to do that. What's your last name? Never call adult. These kids now today, like, these parents trying to be friends. But understanding most of these parents who are trying to be friends, they were children themselves when they had these babies.
Mm-hmm.
So their world is not a respect thing. Their world is, hey, my baby's gonna grow up with me.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And you have to realize that public school teachers are vastly underpaid.
Yes, they are.
Underpaid. So if you can make more money at Walmart than teaching school, that sends a message to teachers.
Not only that, it just sends a message to the education system itself.
mm-hmm.
Let's just be realistic. Another reason why I heard an administrator say this is because you have a lot of women teaching school. That's why they don't put the pay raise up as high.
Yeah.
I heard administrators say that.
Mm.
So the real thing is, the respect of who's teaching your kids, which, if you don't respect those people teaching, it's a natural philosophy to forget about it.
And the thing that's so bad now is that you have administrators making way, way, way too much money.
Yeah.
Than the teachers.
I expect more out of the person.
When you're making, like $200,000 a year,
mm-hmm.
What attachment do you have for a teacher that's only making $40,000?
You don't. And be honest with you, what do you do that's that busy when your school system is failing that you're doing to get paid that much? That's what I always say. And if I'm getting paid that kind of money, you guarantee that system is going to be different and better. And you're going to see me a lot at those things and a lot of those functions with the school, a lot of helping find out what's going on with my school, what's going on in those communities and stuff. But, acculturation has gone to, hey, you got that thing, you're too busy for anything. And people just assume you're just too busy. And realistically, no one ever questions what you do.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to have an administrator to bring me to see their whole week, what they do every week, and listen to me so I can help them out. I doubt they'll do that because it's very intimidating when you can fix something faster than they can. I mean, it's like I tell people before, when you haven't done something, it takes you a long time to do it. When you do something, the shortcuts of what you've been able to do because you've experienced it over time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, unfortunately, from what I've seen, a lot of administrators and managers, 2 to 3 years of experience is not enough. When I was coming up, you had to have 10 actual years of experience before you became a manager, because it takes 10 years to become an expert in it. And how are you going to be over people when you can't do the job yourself?
That's right.
You can't.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes 5 years to realize what works and what doesn't work in the classroom.
Right.
One thing, we have professors, PhDs, that haven't been in a classroom for 20 years.
Yeah.
And they have no desire to be in a classroom.
That's why they're teaching teachers. When I taught, okay, when's the last time you taught? When's the last time you seen what's out there? When's the last time you seen what's going on? And we just have a dichotomy of a bad situation worse, and nobody wants to make it better because those at the top want to be seen rather than showing what they can do to turn things around. And let's just be real. There's people out there that don't want the system to change. I was talking to in Florida right now. We'll get ready to close here. They have the voucher system.
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening now in Florida is that charter schools, private schools, all of them are competing on an equal level now.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's bad for public schools because guess what? All that whole caste system that they have there, what kind of kids you going to be stuck with? What kind of community you going to be stuck with? Now you got to teach. Now you got to work yourself up. And to be honest with you, when you haven't done it before, it's an impossible task. So now you have a different situation where, hey, and I like the vouchers. Like I said, I was raised in Christian school, and I think I like the voucher system because it forces you to compete on an equal footing. Send your kid where you think they can best be educated, and that education should show where your kid is going, and you take a serious note of those kids.
Right.
But that's just my personal opinion. You know, this world is crazy. But
Yeah.
any final thoughts before we close here?
Well, we're dealing with a different type of child today than we did 10 years ago.
We're dealing with a different world.
Yeah, we're dealing with a child that will stay up 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. If he doesn't want to go to school, he's allowed to stay at home, play games, whatever. So we really need a school system that demands certain standards.
Mm-hmm.
And the standards have unfortunately just gone away.
Yeah. And they've been allowed to go away because they're hoping that not everybody does make it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I believe that if you come in my system, there's only two things: you either quit or you're going to be great.
Mhm.
Because there's just no opportunity for you to fail, because it's going to grind you to success. And that's the way a system should be built, is that, hey, if you want to quit, maybe it's just maybe it's too tough for you, go to an easier school. But if you want to be successful, stay in it. You'll be successful by the time you get out of it.
And there's so many teachers that are burnt out.
Oh, yeah.
Burnt out.
Yeah. So, we support our teachers, we support our education system. I hope you enjoyed this talk today. And, like I said, the Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child.
That's right.
You kind of know what kind of household I grew up in, folks.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
There was a discipline, but there's a lot of love. And I want to tell everybody this realistically. I know I laugh and talk about it, but I thank you, Mom and Dad, for disciplining, because a parent that disciplined their child actually loves their child. But you did it out of love, because you said, hey, you're going to have problems if you don't know how to correct these problems in society.
And I think every time I whipped you, we prayed.
Yes.
We prayed first,
Yes.
and then I whipped you.
Exactly. I can only remember one time you did, 2 times.
Obey is better than sacrifice.
Yes. Well, till next time, we'll see you on Mom and Dad Talk.